You ever meet someone who seems too perfect? Like, so perfect you almost miss what's wrong? That's how this story begins. Before we dive in, please, like this video and listen to my story till the end. And tell me, which city are you listening from? That way, I can see just how far this story has traveled. Anyway, the first time Noah asked about the property line, I thought it was just curiosity. The second time, I raised an eyebrow. By the fifth time, something in me twisted. Deep, quiet, sharp. Every visit, he stood by the kitchen window, sipping coffee like he was in a magazine ad, staring out toward the edge of the meadow, right where the land meets the pines. So where does your property end, Elias? Real casual, real light. I laughed at first. Right about where the elk stop walking, I told him. He smiled, like he got the joke. But he asked again, and again, and again. My daughter, Lily, would brush it off with a giggle. Oh, Dad, Noah's just fascinated by the ranch life. You know city boys. Give them a tree and a field, and they start fantasizing about owning a cowboy hat. But I'd been an aerospace engineer for 4 decades. I know patterns. And Noah's interest in property lines wasn't random. It was deliberate. He wasn't from around here. We met him just last Thanksgiving. 34, clean-cut, all charm and polished shoes. Said he was an investment advisor in Boulder. Had that handshake that's just a little too firm, like he practiced it in front of a mirror. He praised my late wife's biscuit recipe, God rest her soul. Asked thoughtful questions. Complimented Lily's dress. He was slick, smooth. And I didn't trust him. Linda, my wife, she passed 3 years back. Cancer. Came fast. Took her faster. Ever since then, this place has been quiet. Lonely, yeah, but also sacred. Linda and I bought this land when it was nothing but dry brush and bad luck. 200 acres in southern Colorado, and it cost us barely more than an old truck. Now, developers would give their left lung to get their claws into it. I'd gotten offers. Big ones. But Linda dreamed of dying here. So how could I sell what she wanted to rest in? Lily got it. She was her mama's shadow. Helped plant every flower in that wild garden out back. Since Linda passed, Lily's made the drive down from Denver every weekend. Checked on me. Brought me groceries I didn't ask for. When she met Noah at some tech mixer, she was glowing. First guy she dated seriously after that disaster with Ben. And after just 4 months, boom. Engagement ring on her finger, smile wider than the valley. I said yes, Daddy, she squealed through the phone. I said all the right things. Congratulations, sweetheart. I'm proud of you. He seems nice. But my gut wouldn't quiet down. It kept whispering. Ask about the property line again, Noah. I dare you. Lily wanted the wedding here, on the land her mama loved. September sunshine, ranch-style ceremony, 200 guests, and a 5-figure planner coordinating it all. Noah was hands-on. Helpful. Almost too helpful. You know, Elias, he said one Saturday in July, if we cleared those trees along the western edge, we could expand the ceremony area beautifully. Those trees marked the end of my land. Those trees are where my wife used to hang wind chimes, I said. He smiled. Of course. I didn't know. Just brainstorming. And then, how far back does your land actually go? There it was again. Same tone. Same smile. But now I wasn't smiling back. Quick pause. What would you do if someone kept asking about your property over and over? Let me know in the comments before we move on. That night, after they left, I sat alone in my study. I pulled out the old deed. My hand ran over the yellowed paper, 215 acres, bought in 1993 for 80 grand. Linda and I had eaten beans and toast for 2 years to afford it. Now, it was worth north of $4 million easy. Maybe 5. But that wasn't all. During my engineering years, I'd patented a refrigeration part, nothing fancy, just something small that worked well. Royalties came every quarter for 25 years. Quiet, steady, reliable. Like me. Total assets? Just over 8 million. But only the ranch was visible. Lily knew I was comfortable, but not that comfortable. I lived like a man with just enough jeans flannel, a truck that coughed when it started. Not because I had to, but because I'd seen what money did to people. And now, someone was sniffing around like a fox near a henhouse. I picked up the phone and called my attorney, Maya. Maya, I need you to look into someone for me, I said. Name's Noah Carter. Says he's a financial advisor. I just want to be sure. There was a pause. This about Lily's fiancé. Just a precaution. She sighed. Elias, if you have concerns, you should talk to your daughter. Not yet, I murmured. Because I wasn't wrong. I'd been right too many times before to ignore this feeling now. 3 days later, Maya called me. Elias, we need to meet. Not over the phone. And that's when everything began to unravel. I drove to Maya's office in Boulder that afternoon, heart thudding like it knew something I didn't. She didn't say much over the phone, just that she had something I needed to see. The moment I walked in, I could tell this wasn't just a precaution. She shut the door behind me and handed me a thick folder. Her expression was tight. She wasn't smiling. Noah Carter, she said, is exactly who he claims to be. On paper. Licensed financial advisor. Works for a mid-size firm. No criminal history. No bankruptcies. No lawsuits. But then she reached back into her drawer and slid over another document. This one felt colder. I asked one of our investigators to dig a little deeper, she said. You need to see this. I opened it, and right there, 2 other names stared up at me. Emma Whitley and Sophia Langston. Both from wealthy families. Both were once engaged to Noah. Both engagements ended suddenly. Quietly. No accusations. No lawsuits. Just vanished. Maya leaned forward, her voice low. Emma's father runs a renewable energy company. Engagement ended 2 weeks after Noah attended a family estate meeting. Sophia's father, major real estate developer, broke off their engagement 4 days after updating his will. It felt like ice water ran through my veins. No paper trail. No charges. Just perfect timing. Too perfect. These families don't sue Elias, Maya said, almost apologetically. They pay to keep embarrassment out of the headlines. My fingers clenched around the edge of the folder. My breathing went shallow. I was furious, but more than that, I was scared. Not for me. For Lily. Maya wasn't finished. I called in a favor. Emma's father said, off the record, that Noah asked very pointed questions about trusts, property transfers, inheritance laws. Said he felt Noah was positioning himself. Didn't accuse him of anything. Just got him out of the picture. I looked at the names again. Emma. Sophia. Now Lily. Lily doesn't have anything, I whispered. No big trust fund, no business stake. She's a marketing manager. She does fine, but... Maya's voice dropped lower. She doesn't have the money, but she has you. And Noah might think she's set to inherit this ranch, and more. I swallowed hard. My mouth was dry. And my heart wanted to scream. He wasn't in love. He was hunting. What would you do if you discovered your child's fiancé had a secret pattern like this? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how you would protect your family. That weekend, Noah came back to the ranch. Pulled up in his sleek silver Audi like he was in a commercial. He was wearing that too white smile and holding a bottle of wine I didn't ask for. Elias got a sec? He asked, all casual. Sure, I said, folding my newspaper. He sat down next to me on the porch swing like he belonged there. Like he'd earned it. So Lily and I have been talking. About, life after the wedding. Finances. The future. He chuckled. I know I can be a bit intense with planning. Comes with the job. I gave him nothing. Just silence. Let him fill the space. I was thinking, he continued, you've got this big, beautiful property, and, well, no offense, you're not getting any younger. I raised an eyebrow. I mean, he laughed, not in a bad way. Just, maybe it's time to think about estate planning. Setting up a trust, long-term care, power of attorney, just the smart stuff. I could help you with it. For free. We're going to be family, after all. He sipped his wine like he hadn't just offered to take control of my life's work. I kept my face calm. My voice steady. I've got a will. That's a great start, he said. But trusts are so much more efficient. Especially with a property this size. Keeps things clean. Avoids probate. I've got some materials I can bring by. You'll be amazed at what we can do. That's when I knew. He had his pitch down to a science. He'd probably said those exact words to Emma's father. Sophia's. Maybe others. You make some good points, I told him. Why don't we sit down next week? You can walk me through it. His eyes sparkled. Absolutely. I'll bring everything. And just like that, he thought he'd won. But I wasn't done. That night, I called Maya again. He just brought up estate planning and long-term care. I said, he's making his move. There was a pause on the other end. I know someone, she said finally. A private investigator. Very discreet. Hire them, I said. Now. The investigator's name was Renee. And 1 week later, she handed me a recording that shook me to my core. What Noah said when he thought no one was listening. It changed everything. Renee. That was the name of the woman Maya called. Ex-law enforcement. Quiet voice, sharp eyes. The kind of person who could follow you for 10 blocks without you ever noticing. She didn't waste time. I'll need access to his schedule, vehicle, and any place he frequents, she told me. He's at the dealership tomorrow. Routine service. Perfect. Less than a week later, she called me. Her voice was calm. But something about the way she said my name, Elias, told me I wasn't ready. Got something you'll want to hear. She came to the ranch that evening. Just me, her, and a small silver recorder on the table between us. I pressed play with a shaking hand. Noah's voice, smooth as silk. Yeah, I'm at the ranch again. Smiling, sipping coffee. Being the sweet future son-in-law. The old man has no clue. My hands clenched. My breath hitched. Another voice, male. You sure about the value? Noah laughed. Of course I'm sure. I checked the county records myself. 215 acres. Bought it in the 90s for peanuts. With Denver creeping out this far, this place is worth minimum $4 million. More if we play it right. A pause. He's loaded. I'm telling you. Retired, no debt, land free and clear. Guy probably has millions stashed away somewhere. My stomach turned. My vision blurred for a moment. And then, the daughter? Lily. She's clueless. Thinks her dad's just a flannel-wearing widower with a retirement fund. She doesn't know a damn thing. There was laughter. Cold, sharp. Not the kind that comes from joy. The kind that cuts. The other man, his name had to be Marcus, asked, so what's the play? And then Noah answered. Calm. Confident. Calculated. I marry Lily in September. Play the perfect husband. Be the loyal son-in-law. Win his trust. Get power of attorney under the guise of helping out. He paused. Old guy lives alone. Anything could happen. A fall. Some memory issues. Maybe he ends up in a care facility. Guess who's managing his finances? My chest was tight now. My throat dry. I stay long enough to lock it all down, Noah continued. Then divorce. Take my share in the settlement. Lily won't even know what hit her until it's too late. Marcus whistled. You're cold, man. Noah just chuckled. No. I'm smart. Emma's dad caught on too fast. Sophia's had everything locked in a trust. But Elias? He's just ripe for the taking. I need to know, what would you do if you heard a recording like that? Would you confront him? Go to the police? Tell me in the comments. Your thoughts might help someone going through the same thing. I turned off the recorder. I didn't even realize my hand was shaking until Renee gently took the device from me. You okay? She asked. I nodded slowly. I will be. That night, I sat in Linda's old rocking chair and stared out into the dark. The stars were bright. So many of them. The kind of sky city folks never see. I could almost hear her voice. Soft. Steady. Protect our daughter, Eli. You know what to do. I called Maya and Renee the next morning. We needed a plan. A real one. Maya's voice was hard as iron. This is conspiracy to commit fraud. Possibly worse. We can take this to the police now. No, I said. Not yet. Why? Because Lily's happy. She thinks she's found the one. If I blow this up now, she'll think I'm just being paranoid. Controlling. She needs to see it herself. Needs to hear it. You want her to hear that recording? No. I want her to see the man behind the voice. And I want 200 people to witness it. Renee raised an eyebrow. At the wedding? I nodded. I want him to fall with an audience. We had 3 weeks. And every single day, I played my part. The quiet, agreeable father-in-law. I let Noah come over, talk about trust structures, insurance policies, retirement plans. He came by with binders and fake concern. Just trying to help Elias. You deserve to have peace of mind in your golden years. I smiled politely. Of course. Let's talk about it next week. He was so confident, so sure. It made my stomach churn, but I kept my face steady. I had to. Lily noticed I was quieter. Dad? She asked one evening, as we worked on setting up chairs in the barn. You've been kind of distant lately. Is everything okay? I forced a smile. Just thinking about your mom. She would have loved all this. Lily's eyes softened. I know. I miss her too. She looked so happy, so full of hope. And I hated what was coming. But it had to come. The night before the wedding, Lily slipped me a note. 3 words that froze my blood. Dad, help me. And that's when everything changed. The day before the wedding was flawless. The sky was Colorado blue, the kind that makes you feel like you can breathe again after holding your breath all year. Guests were arriving. Lily was glowing. Noah, grinning like the king of the world. And me? I was waiting. That night, we had the rehearsal dinner on the back lawn. Under string lights, Lily had picked out herself. Everyone clapped and cheered as Noah raised a glass. To Elias, who's welcomed me like a son. And to Lily, my future, my forever. Tomorrow is going to be perfect. People laughed, wiped away tears. Even I smiled and raised my glass. It wasn't the time. Not yet. Later that night, Lily came to me while I was putting away chairs. Her cheeks were pale, her fingers trembling. Dad, I need to talk to you. I stopped what I was doing and turned. What is it, sweetheart? She glanced over her shoulder, nervous, terrified, and then slipped something into my hand. A folded piece of paper. I opened it under the porch light. 3 words, written in a shaky hand. Dad, help me. My heart dropped. The world seemed to slow. She looked up at me, her eyes glassy with tears. I went to his hotel last night. I was going to surprise him. Instead, I heard him talking to some guy. Marcus, I think. Her voice cracked. He said once we're married, he's going to convince you to hand over power of attorney. Then, God, Dad, he said maybe you'd fall or start forgetting things. He said managing your finances would be easy. She choked back a sob. He said I'd never see it coming, that I was too naive to notice. I wrapped my arms around her and held her tight. Her body shook against mine. Oh, baby girl. I'm so sorry. She looked up at me, stunned. You knew. I suspected. I had him investigated. We've been watching him, recording him. I didn't want to say anything until I was sure. You had to see it for yourself. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't want to believe it. I almost married him. But you didn't, I whispered. You didn't. Would you have gone through with the wedding if you were Lily? Or would you have called it off right then? Be honest. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone who's facing a similar decision. The next day was wedding day. Everything was perfect. Almost sickeningly perfect. The chairs were lined up, the flowers were fresh. The arbor Lily had dreamed of since she was a girl stood proudly in front of the mountains. Aspen leaves danced on the breeze. Guests laughed, took selfies, drank lemonade. I stood by the house, watching it all unfold. My heart felt like it was being squeezed in a vice. Lily wore her mother's pearls. Her dress caught the sunlight like it was spun from memory. I walked her down the aisle as music played and people whispered about how beautiful she looked. I love you, Dad, she whispered. I swallowed the knot in my throat. I love you too, sweetheart. Always. We reached the altar. I placed her hand in Noah's, and for a moment, I saw it. That flicker. The greed behind his smile. The calculation in his eyes. The officiant began the ceremony. Guests wiped their eyes. Camera phones were everywhere. Then it came time for the vows. Noah took Lily's hands in his, all charm and calmness. But before he could speak, Lily reached into her bouquet, pulled out a small folded paper, and handed it to me. Everyone watched, confused, whispering. I opened it. The same 3 words, "Dad, help me." Only this time, she was ready. Her voice shook but was strong enough to cut through the silence. I heard him. Last night, he said once we were married, he'd get control of my father's estate. That he'd wait for something to happen to him. He said I wouldn't figure it out until it was too late. Noah's smile cracked. The guests gasped. Some stood. A few actually gasped out loud. "You're being ridiculous," Noah snapped. "This is some emotional breakdown. Wedding day stress." "Shut up," Lily said, stepping back. "You called me stupid. Said I'd never know what you were doing until you'd taken everything." Noah's face went red. "You don't know what you're talking about." He reached for her arm, but he didn't get the chance. Because 2 plainclothes men in the front row stood up. The sheriff and his deputy. Both friends of mine. "Mr. Carter," the sheriff said calmly, "you're being detained for questioning related to fraud and conspiracy." Noah's eyes widened. "Wait, what? You can't." They had him cuffed before he could finish the sentence. Someone in the back gasped. Cameras recorded everything. Lily stared straight ahead, tears running down her cheeks. Marcus tried to bolt from the back row, but Renee was waiting by the cars. She tackled him so fast, people actually cheered. I held Lily as chaos unfolded around us. Noah shouting about lies. Guests whispering. Some angry, some stunned, others quietly impressed by the drama. Maya arrived 10 minutes later with folders, audio files, timestamps. Every piece of evidence. The wedding was over. But the truth? It had just arrived. Later that evening, Lily looked at me through tears and whispered, "Dad, how rich are you really? You won't believe what came next." The wedding guests drifted off in small, stunned clusters, some offering hugs, others too shocked to say anything. The caterers packed up trays of untouched food. The band silently disassembled their gear. And on the porch steps, still in her wedding dress, Lily sat beside me. Her hair was messy now, her mascara smudged, her eyes tired. So tired. She rested her head on my shoulder and whispered, "I'm sorry, Dad." "For what?" I asked, brushing a leaf from her veil. I knew. For 2 days. I heard him and Marcus talking at the hotel. I didn't tell you. I froze. I didn't want it to be real. I thought maybe I imagine it. Her voice broke. "I almost married him. And I let you think I was happy." I looked at her, this grown woman who had once held my hand during thunderstorms and cried when her goldfish died. She looked like that little girl again. "You didn't let me down," I said. "You gave me that note. And you stopped it in front of everyone. That took guts." She gave a bitter laugh. It didn't feel brave. I was shaking so hard I thought I'd pass out. "Courage doesn't mean you're not scared, Lily. It means you act anyway." We sat there for a while. No words. Just the sound of the mountains breathing around us. Then she looked up at me, frowning a little. "Dad, how rich are you really?" I blinked. "What?" She wiped her face and gave a tired half-laugh. "I mean, Noah kept saying you were sitting on millions, and I always just thought we were comfortable. But now I'm wondering what else I didn't know." I laughed. For the first time in days, I really laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so her to ask that. "Well," I said, "your mom and I bought this land for $80,000 in '93. It's worth a little over $4 million now." Her mouth dropped open. "$4 million," I nodded. "I also hold a few patents from my engineering days. One of them, small thing in industrial cooling, has been paying royalties for 25 years. Add in a few smart investments, and we're somewhere around $8 million total." She gaped at me. $8 million. And you still drive that wheezing truck and wear jeans with holes in them. "Money doesn't impress me," I shrugged. "It never did. Your mom and I knew what wealth can do to people. We saw it tear apart families. We promised we'd live modestly and raise you like a regular kid." Lily went quiet. Then softly, "So, is my inheritance real?" "Yes." but it's locked in a trust. Set up so no spouse, no friend, no charming fraudster can touch it. Not without your consent. I set that up years ago, after your Aunt May's divorce. She looked down at her hands. I feel so stupid. I took her hand gently. You're not. You're someone who believes the best in people. That's not weakness, Lily. That's hope. And yes, sometimes people like Noah use that against you. But that's on them, not you. Her eyes filled again. I wish Mom was here. My throat caught. I reached out and pulled her close. Me too, sweetheart. Every single day. We sat there for hours, watching the sun sink behind the trees, coloring the sky in golds and purples Linda would have loved. And in the middle of all that quiet, I whispered, "You stopped him. You saved yourself." A few months passed. Noah and Marcus were both charged fraud, conspiracy, attempted financial exploitation. Noah took a plea. 5 years probation, full restitution of the investigation costs, and a permanent ban from working in finance again. Marcus got 2 years. Lily moved back to the ranch for a while, took time off work, went to therapy, rebuilt herself. She still flinched when the doorbell rang unexpectedly. She still had nightmares. But she got better. She laughed again. She even started dating again, slowly, carefully, sadder but wiser. As for me, I made one change. Linda's old garden. I expanded it, planted new roses, added a stone bench with her name carved into it. Now Lily and I sit there some evenings, watching the deer graze, the stars appear one by one. I tell her stories about her mother, about the woman who believed in buying land instead of diamonds, in planting gardens instead of collecting cars, in building a life instead of performing one. And when Lily asks me if I ever regret keeping my wealth hidden, I tell her, no, because it gave you a childhood untouched by entitlement, and it kept predators like Noah guessing. She smiles, and sometimes she cries. But she's healing. She's stronger than she knows. Tell me in the comments. And if you've dealt with something similar, share your story. You're not alone. Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. Now I sit on the porch with a coffee in hand and a worn flannel shirt on my back. The sky burns orange behind the mountains. The wind dances through Linda's wildflowers. And I know, with every ounce of who I am, money means nothing if it can't protect the people you love. And I'd use every last dollar to do just that, again and again, as long as I breathe.